Hey there, and welcome back to another template design walkthrough. This design is called Playlist. So let's jump in here and take a look at the layer stack to give you an idea of what to expect in this one, how to make some changes, where to place subjects, and just to see what's available in here. Alright, so when the layer stack loads up, it's going to look a little something like this. As typical, it's going to start out with some color grading layers. It's going to add a little bit of color and contrast, a little bit of warmth to the overall image. It's just kind of like a polishing step. As always, you can expand this group. You could disable these layers. You could change opacities to create a little bit of a customization on that color grading if desired. Below that are some facial highlight boosts for lighter and darker skin tones. And once we get our subjects in, we'll take a look at applying those. Directly below that, this is our playlist control graphics. So that is this player control box down here in the bottom. Let's expand this and take a look. So I left all of these components customizable here, so you could change these start and end times here on the progress bar. There's the little sound wave graphic here in the corner. You'll see in red is going to indicate where to put like a subject or a mascot image. So if you wanted to put something in this little box right here, you would just do that by clipping that in line here with this little album box. All right, in that box is a little background color gradient that's automatically applied, as well as a color change layer here. This is just a hue saturation color change. So you could change these HSL sliders to create your different colors and saturations and things as needed. And then that's the little box itself. If for any reason you wanted to change the size, turn that off or on, you could do that right there. All right, so let's minimize that for a moment. Now below that is our foreground subject container. So this is just a group that you expand. You'll see it's just going to tell you drop your main foreground subject in here. So that goes in that group. Directly below that is the upper subject box. So that is this top playlist box up here. And it is masked off so that you can just drop your subject right in here and then resize as needed. You're going to see just like this box here, this one has the box itself if you'd like to move or resize. It's got a built-in color gradient, and then it's got a easy color change here via HSL as well by moving these sliders. All right, let's collapse that. Below that is our background sound waves. Now by default I have these set to overlay just because I think that effect looks kind of cool. You could always change this to normal, and you could always change the opacity and things on these more or less, or you could disable them if desired. I also have color change built onto this as well, so let's set this to normal so that you can see again HSL color will let you slide that to whatever colors or brightnesses that you want from here. All right, so we'll just turn that back off for a second. Let me go ahead and reset this to overlay, which is the default. Below that is our background image box. So that's this background rectangle here, already masked off again, so you can just drop your subject in here and resize as needed. Once again, you've got the background box that can be moved or resized. You've got the color gradient automatically applied, and then you have the color change here to change the color of that gradient. All right, with HSL one more time. Okay, let's minimize that. Below that is some normal text layers. So this is our top text up here at our playlist. All right, so that is just, again, normal text that can be double-clicked to change. This Roboto font and the Alexandria font that I'm using in my samples, I do have links to where you can get those on the product page. All right, so below this text there is some background smoke adding a little bit of a texture in here, so it's not really meant to look specifically like smoke, but just to create some interesting gradient texture in the background. There is some color change for this as well. And below that is basically all the layers making up the background. So for instance, this very last background, that's going to be the main color. So if you wanted that to be green or a darker green or something, you would just pick that color. You could sample from a jersey or a logo or anything like that. And then we have kind of these gradient spotlights in the background creating some dimension. And then I have this fade to black just because I think that creates an interesting look as well, where you get kind of this smoky floor type of look. Again, you could change that color, but I just thought that was a cool look, so I put it in there as an option that can just easily be turned on or off. You will take notice too on this background image box that this opacity is lowered by default. You could always make that full value or less or more, as desired by moving that opacity slider around. All right, so there's basically the overall. It's very simple to use. So let's drop subjects in and just see how we would customize this out. So I've got a few subjects up here that we're just going to turn on and start dropping in. So this is going to be our foreground subject. So what we want to do is we want to bring him down into our foreground subject group down here. So we'll drop him in. So you're going to see once he's in here, he's automatically going to get this drop shadow applied that's applied to the group. All right, and then we can just place him anywhere. Now you could use this with no legs, but or no feet by running them, out of the bottom of the image. You can use the feet and put some ground shadows and things in, which I've done here. So whatever you like the look of, it should be very simple to use. All right, let's minimize that. Let's turn our next one. So this one is a headshot that I want to put in this top box here. So we're just going to expand this upper subject box. I'm going to drop our subject into that box. Command or Control T to, you could size bigger or smaller, and just bring up to whatever size you'd like that to be. I kind of like something like that. Looks pretty good, so let's apply that. All right, I'm going to minimize that one. And then our last subject, I want to be in this background subject box. So let's drag this down into the background image box. And let's Command or Control T to resize. I want this one to be nice and big. Maybe something like that. Looks pretty cool. Could off center, which I think looks kind of cool if we go with the subject on this side. So you definitely could play around with placement here to create some different compositions. Let's try this, and let's see if we move our subject back this way. If we wanted to see the football on that side, we definitely could do that. Maybe pull them back over here to the middle. So again, whatever you like the look of here, I think we're going to go maybe make him just a little bit smaller. And something offset like that looks kind of cool. All right, I like that. Let's work with something like that. All right, now let's change our colors to make more sense here. So he's got the red jersey. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by closing my layers and then getting to the bottom, and let's go ahead and set our background color. I'm just going to select one of these tones from the jersey, maybe a little bit darker red. Not blue. Let's go back to red. Something about like that, somewhere in that mid to dark red I think I like. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so again, I could turn this on and off to see if I like the look of that, which I do, but for the sake of this, let's leave the full color in the background. All right, the smoke, I'm going to turn my color change on for that, and let's move this over to our red to give us maybe just a tinge of orange to give a little bit of contrast back in there. All right, you could change the text at this point if we wanted to. So just by double clicking and typing in the new text, click apply. And again, all that simple text to change. Let's look at our background box. Let's turn our color change onto that background. And then let's pick our color here. So we can go to red, maybe make this darker so it has some contrast with the background. We could even see what it looks like. Even lighter could look pretty cool. Maybe let's do this one lighter for now, just for the sake of it, because I think that looks kind of neat. So just making that white. All right, let's collapse. Sound waves. Again, I kind of look the look of it on overlay. We could always just add some color to see how things look. We could always You know, change this back to like a normal blend mode if we wanted to see like, you know, more like a more or less opaque type of look to this. We could bring that opacity up and down if you wanted a full value, but I do like personally being able to see through it there. Let's play with color here again. Well, darker looks kind of cool too, but let me go back to overlay. I still think that's my favorite blend mode for this is overlay, and I think I still like it. I still like it lighter, so we're going to make it kind of like that. All right, I like that. Let's open up our upper subject box. So we're going to again turn on our easy color change here. We're going to use our HSL to get over here to our reds, and again we can see the difference between going with a black or, you know, a darker or lighter background. I think we'll keep it red, but just a little bit of a lighter gradient on there. I think that looks pretty sweet. All right, then one more thing we can do in our playlist control is we can add, again, this could be a subject, this could be like a school mascot, really anything that you want. What I'm going to do is just, again, to give it that like playlisty type of effect here, is I'm going to grab our subject from the headshot right here, hold Alt or Option, drag up to copy, right in line here where it says clip, like that, and then Command or Control T, and I can bring him down here and resize into like a little like album thumbnail type of look. There we go. Let's apply that. Let's turn our background color on, and again, this could be, you could make this one white, which I kind of like the look of, or darker. Let's make this one white for the look of this. All right, and then again, all this text could be changed. It's just simple text layers within here. So if you wanted to change like the school mascot name, put a, you know, custom song name in there, that's all very easily done. And then the last thing we want to do is just go to our facial highlight boost. I'm going to pick the upper one, which is the darker skin tone. Again, you can always just look at the layer names for descriptions on what each layer is. So I'm going to make sure that the mask is selected. I'll come over with a white brush, and let's just paint in some highlights here on the face. A little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit down here. Maybe a little bit on his arms, just to get some of those skin tone highlights to pop out there. There we go, and that looks pretty sweet. So that's it. That's how easy it is to put your subjects in, to use this, you know, just to customize this with what you think looks cool. And I can't wait to see what you guys make, and I hope you get a ton of use out of this, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Thanks everyone.